Good afternoon. This is Chris Cordani filling in for Tony Shaffer on the S-Files podcast. And since a lot of people tell me I need help, I think in other ways, but I needed help today. And there is Jenny Kefauver with me. And thank you for being with me, Jenny.
You're so welcome, Chris. My pleasure.
Now, we have a cool guy coming on with us, too. A man with an intense, immense knowledge of history. He's the host of the Dean's List on America Out Loud. We're going to look at the State of the Union. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to look at nasty politics from an historic perspective, because you think it's bad now. You ought to try it during the Henry Clay era in the 1823, 1850, those years. That's pretty bad. They just didn't have the internet back then, right, Dean?
Right. You got it. It's been nasty for a long time, Chris.
Yeah, it's like people don't realize. Well, they think, everything's kind of cool. They all used to play baseball together, and Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill got along. You know what? They were gentlemen. There are politicians that actually dueled. There's a politician that, well, everybody knows about the duel, but then you have John Sickles, who killed somebody right in broad daylight in front of people.
Right.
And it was really nasty back then, but it is pretty bad now. And I want to just say that Dean Bowen is, as I said before, the host of the Dean's List. You can find that on America Out Loud. I'm pulling up that page right now. It's America Out Loud Talk Radio Network. You got this. It's a history lesson in a big package, loads of great historical perspectives on what's going on today as well. So let's talk about the big day yesterday. Donald Trump, what do you think of his State of the Union? Jenny will go first.
Okay. Last night wasn't just the State of the Union. It was a clarity moment. Trump drew a bright line between citizen-first government and what many Americans see as borderless managerial politics.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, pencil pushing is boring. And look, State of the Unions are normally a rally anyway, right? Some kind of, the guys always say, hey, look at me, look what I did, isn't that great? But sometimes you'll hear some sound policy, and this is what we heard last night. Yes, we did hear the back patting and everything, but it wasn't like Obama, where he always just said, hey, look at me, I did this, my predecessor, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I know. Joe Biden basically him and his administration, the people behind him destroyed the country in several ways. Donald Trump did say that, and quite a few times. But the fact is, he also looked to the future. So what are the great highlights of this? And I want to start with this. But first, before I do that, if you like the show, please share this feed. Subscribe to Tony Shaffer on YouTube. You can find him easy. Just plug in Tony Shaffer. He's on YouTube. Find me on X. I'm at Chris Cordani 1. Of course, Tony is T Spooky. You can subscribe to him as well. We have some deep dives and very good stuff over there. But what I liked about Donald Trump is Barack Obama and Joe Biden and even George Bush and some they were passive aggressive when it came to talking about the other party. Trump's not like that. He's aggressive. And you know what? He's to the point. You want to hear some of his aggressiveness? Let's see what you guys think about this one, where he was dropping the nose on the border situation. Oh, by the way, poor Sarah Wasserman Schultz. I guess she didn't wash her hair today again.
Biden and his corrupt partners in Congress and beyond, it reached a breaking point with the Green New scam, open borders for everyone. They poured in by the millions and millions from prisons, from mental institutions. They were murderers, 11,888 murders. They came into our country. You allowed that to happen. And record-setting inflation that cost the typical family $34,000 in just a speck of time. Now, the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly used the word affordability, a word. They just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they call.
Notice that J.D. Vance is always every once in a while he's trying not to laugh. He's always trying to look serious. And then Johnson, I mean, the guy, I always thought he was stiff as a board, and he's trying to be, but he laughs. He actually has some personality every once in a while.
It's true. It's true.
So what do you think here? Donald Trump's right about this whole affordability thing. And I think, if I remember correctly, Abigail Spanberger, let's just say, lied her way into the Virginia governorship, into the gubernatorial seat, by using the term affordability, of course, going full non-affordability after going in.
You know, it's kind of like the communist socialist mayor over there in New York, all of a sudden deciding that he needs people to show ID in order to come out and shovel the snow. I mean, they want it one way, but you can't have it both ways. And Trump called him out for that last night. Called him out.
I think we have that clip. So, as the great Emo Phillips has said, that sounds like a cue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there it is.
Ever I heard one.
And even the new communist mayor of New York City, I think he's a nice guy, actually. Speak to him a lot. Bad policy, but nice guy. Just said they want people to shovel snow. They got hit hard. Want them to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a social security card. Yet they don't want identification for the greatest privilege of them all, voting in America. No, it's no good. No good. Both Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly agree on the policy that we just enunciated. And Congress should unite and enact this common sense, country-saving legislation right now, and it should be before anything else happens.
Yeah, agreed.
Jenny, apparently the Democrats think you and other women are too stupid to get voter IDs.
It's ridiculous. I mean, there was an article in the Atlantic magazine during 2020 talking about how if you can go to the grocery store, you can absolutely vote in person. And I was shocked to see this. This resurfaced the other day when I was doing some research, and I thought, wow, I never thought this would come from that source. But then again, that's their mentality. I mean, leftists always think that minorities and women are too stupid to think for themselves. I figured this out a long time ago. They'd rather have them have the group think and reflect what they want because it's all about control, power, and votes.
Dean?
Yeah, it's a shame, really, the way that they attempt to manipulate classes, attempt to manipulate groups of people in order to buy into their definitions, buy into their terminology, buy into their ideas, which, quite frankly, don't make sense. It does not make sense that you would have to show an ID to shovel snow, but not show an ID to vote. And their argument that it's going to disenfranchise women who have changed their name because they've been married is ridiculous. How have we been voting for decades? For centuries.
Exactly. And the fact is they'll have ID, and a lot of people have a real ID right now. Most areas, and they try to use the poll tax excuse, but you can get an ID for free. Not a worry. You're a citizen. Sure. You can get all of that. This is one of the reasons why Bill Clinton tried to pull that motor voter bill, by the way. The idea was you can register to vote while you have a driver's license, or you go get your driver's license. In some states, we're kind of a little leery on little easy on the rules when it comes to citizenship. So so that's another issue as well. That's a big one. But if you're looking at what they were talking about today about the voter ID, think about this. These are the same liberals that wanted us to carry around a card to go everywhere in 2000 during the COVID pandemic.
Right.
Gavin Newsom, by the way, Dean, is he actually didn't even hide what you were saying. He didn't hide the fact that he thinks his constituents are stupid. He actually told black people, hey, you people have a 930 SAT like me. I'm an idiot. I'm a knucklehead. He sounds like Tim Walz trying to be, basically after a shower.
Oh, I love it. I think you should take this stand-up routine on the road. You have described him perfectly, Chris.
By the way, I do have this stand-up routine on the road. I'm on America Out Loud as well, and I'm on actually Wednesday nights at 7 at the Unleashed Hour, 7 o'clock. I'm one of that team of 5, so that's good. But I do have a prediction, by the way, which involves the SOTU. There's a lot of nasty politics going around, and here's some more. Want to hear some more highlights from the SOTU, if you will? Let's go with this one. Trump really dressed down the Democrats, and I believe he was saying what we all were thinking.
So tonight I'm
He looks depressed.
inviting everyone to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle.
And he's thinking, no, I got to get my left hand out of my pants.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Oh, now, this was masterful.
And the fact that he just let that applause run, I mean, I didn't set a timer to it, Chris and Jenny, but it felt to me like that applause went for a long time. And I thought that exact same thing, Chris. I thought this was a stroke of genius.
Yes, Dean, Jenny, the idea is that he put the Democrats in a huge trap. If they didn't stand up, the nation would see that they don't care about American citizens. If they did stand up, or if they did stand up, then they'd have to answer to their own constituents who they trained, or the party trained, I'll say the left collective trained, to despise Trump at every corner, no matter what he says. That was a tough trap for those people.
And they didn't choose us. I think that's an important point.
Yes, that's the thing. And that's a big one. By the way, what do you people think on the live chat? Check us out. Share the feed, if you will. We might have some trouble on X. So tell your friends who are watching on X to watch us on YouTube, on Tony Shaffer's channel, of course, on my Facebook page and the Argonne Productions page. We got a lot of stuff going on. We'll also have this posted as a rerun for those who missed us on X if we're having trouble there. But yeah, let's hear what you think about that. It was absolutely great because he put the Democrats between just in another tough situation.
And they didn't respond well.
When have they really?
You know, what's the guy from Texas? Who's the Democrat from Texas who stormed out within the first 3 or 4 minutes?
Oh,
Al Green.
Al Green didn't storm
Al Green.
out. He was
Thank you.
escorted out.
He was escorted out. Yes, you're right. He was.
Right, and let's get that one up there because now that you mention that, Dean, see, I'm always ready. See, I actually have I've never met Dean in person, by the way, but I think I can read his mind, or he's reading my mind. I think you're reading my mind.
Okay, I'll take that.
But hey, this is great. Al Green was trying to sneak in that little sign he had over that you see in his hand that said "Black people aren't apes," referring to that silly meme, that the little video that was. Look, let's put it this way: if you are on Trump's team, watch the whole video before posting. That's number one. Okay, but the man did not try to say that black people were apes when he had that Obama thing at the end. He shouldn't have posted it. Somebody should have looked at it. But Al Green decides to take advantage and again try to get attention during the SOTU. But you see his little poster there? He's yelling. He's mad. Where's his cane?
And we will never go back to where we were just a very short.
And there you go. So he snuck that and he scrolled it up, by the way, because you're not allowed to bring signs like that in. He snuck it in.
Yeah.
Contraband.
Scrolled it. You're right. Scrolled it. Scrolled in contraband.
Right.
So, Chris, just in regard to when do they respond well? I mean, here's just another example of it's just a poor response.
Yeah, there were poor responses all along. Al Green, again, he was cane man last year. Didn't bring the cane, brought his sign in this year. He let's put it this way. And by the way, anybody who isn't sure who I'm talking about, that's the Al Green who can't sing. And he's obviously the opposite of let's stay together or let's stay together. That's like he wants us to all stay apart.
Yeah, right. He wants division. His whole party wants division.
Yep. Jenny, Dean, perhaps the number one worst reaction was from these two over here. They were actually put in a corner because these two, they're only, Tlaib's only let's just say her only purpose in life, it seems, is to get Donald Trump, to impeach the MRFer, if you remember that. Ilhan Omar is sly. She's a consummate politician. These two are very different, but very much the same, especially with this reaction.
Officials who block the removal of criminal aliens, in many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh! They're so angry.
You know, she's extra angry, Omar is, because he called Somalis out. I mean, repeatedly. This whole situation in Minnesota, he just unleashed on them, and she had to sit there and take it because she's part of it, and she knows it.
Oh, I mean, her net worth got pretty high after joining office, by the way. That's pretty big. Jenny, I always say never trust a politician whose net worth grows exponentially after taking office.
Right? I mean, the emotional outbursts definitely did not help them. They reinforced the contrast that Trump was trying to create: controlled defiance versus reactive outrage. And let me tell you something. I think I've mentioned this before, but I've lived in and around leftist areas, went to a very leftist college. And I've always found leftists to be extremely emotionally immature, just thinking with their feelings, thinking with, without just, bursting out their feelings, yelling, screaming, getting in people's faces, getting violent. I mean, this is nothing really new, except I do think the discourse is getting a little out of hand. So it's nothing new in many iterations, but
Jenny,
it's really
would you call it emotional manipulation?
Emotional manipulation?
Yes. When they respond emotionally, is that a term that you would apply to them, that they are attempting to manipulate others emotionally with their own outbursts?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. A lot of them just seem to have these emotional tantrums and act like toddlers. I've seen this so many different times in the last few decades, and it's always the same thing. But I will say it's a little bit disturbing that we have people in elected office at the highest levels who act this way. That is what I find most troubling. It's one thing to talk about college kids, but quite another when you talk about grown adults, in a platform like the House of Representatives. I just can't wrap my head around the fact that these people are elected to high office.
I want to jump in here too. I wanted to get right to the interview with Nancy Pelosi after the discussion about, or after Trump talked about the bill to end insider trading within Congress, and that's kind of tied onto here. But you brought something up that I wanted to bring up a little bit later on, so we're going to push that forward. Yeah, these people are babies. These people are emotional. These people yell and scream at each other. They're nasty. They're horrible to each other on social media. They try to boycott each other. They try to manipulate the voters that way. But people seem to think this is the nastiest era in politics. I always thought, looking back, the nastiest era in politics may have been somewhere between 1820 and 1850, and the Henry Clay and all these other people fighting each other. And Dean, that's one of the reasons I brought you on, to kind of show us how hard it was between the two sides, if you will. There were multiple parties, but generally the two major parties back in the early part of the 19th century. And I'm talking pre-Civil War.
Mm-hmm. You know what? There is an incident, and Chris, a lot of this was centered around slavery, because one party wanted it, the other party didn't. And there was an incident in the Senate where his name escapes me. He's a senator, and he's giving a speech, an anti-slavery speech, and a representative from the House trudges through the chamber, comes over to the Senate, and literally canes him down. It's a Democrat who comes over to just beat him down mercilessly. And the other Democrats stood by and they applauded. They felt like he was within his right to come over with a cane. And this was pre-Civil War. This was before the war. But because you had a party that was standing up against an evil, and this is important. I think this is a very important distinction, because we like to say left versus right, and Democrat versus Republican, or whatever label you want to put on it. But in a lot of instances, this is good versus evil, and that's the fight that we're in. That whole fight for and against slavery was good versus evil, more so than it was Democrats versus the Whigs or Republicans. And it's that evil that is rooted in anger. You see it.
It's Preston Brooks is the guy.
Preston Brooks. Thank
Preston
you.
Brooks. He beat down Charles Sumner.
Sumner, he's the one. Thank you for doing your research, Chris. Way to go.
Hey, he didn't pull a sickles on anybody, but that's still pretty bad.
Yep.
Remember, they yell and they act like babies here, or at least they're not beating the snot out of each other. At least we can say that, right?
You're right. At least no one's pulling. Well, at least Al Green didn't pull out a cane and go after somebody.
Right. I'm pretty sure they would have been able to handle that one. And look, I get maybe Fetterman could have been Senator Fetterman could have been a nice a referee with all that, and we'll deal with that. But the arguments. There are a lot of great rivalries. We don't have a high class rivalry here. What we had recently was Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett acting like women in a mud wrestling pit during the House hearings. We have Jamie Raskin using his passive aggressive nature to disparage his opposition colleagues on television. Again, we just see all that, and it's not really like what we saw or what I've read about, let's just say, what happened in the 1820s. I mean, Henry Clay, John C. Calhoun. There were some real serious rivalries back then. And like you said before, sometimes there's nothing stopping one senator from physically attacking another on or near the floor.
Mm-hmm. It happened all the time. And I guess maybe it was just a different time. I mean, you alluded earlier to this whole culture of challenging someone to a duel. And if you got challenged to a duel, by golly, you were accepting it, and somebody was going to die that day. And it was a different time.
Maybe they could have just had a slap fight. But there was a lot of corruption. And look, imagine if the internet existed. I know you can always say, imagine if it existed, but imagine if it existed in 1820 through 1850, those years, or basically right before the Civil War. There would be a lot of internet shaming going on about slavery, but it's funny we discuss, and I know the Democrats try to say, well, the slaves moved, the pro-slave people, the bigots moved from the Democrats to Republicans in the 20th century. Well, that's not really true. A few moved over, but a lot of them stayed. The Dixiecrats were where they were for the most part. What you have now is Democrats advocating a different kind of slavery. And if you want to argue two kinds, because their ideas of, and again, tell me if I'm far off, Dean and Jenny, you can stop me and say, Chris, you are crazy. But first, the idea of keeping or bringing in all sorts of illegal aliens would be doing the Democrats' bidding for free by populating cities to, let's just say, falsely create, or let's say to fabricate populations to create more representation in Congress for Democrats. Number two, the cheap labor that their cohorts, their friends get. They pay less for contracting work, that sort of thing. That's also what they want. So that's kind of near slave labor. This is why they seem to love to advocate for illegal immigration. Am I off?
No, you're not off. You're spot on.
Oh, well, thank you.
What's it feel like to be so spot on?
I know. Usually when somebody says I'm spot on, it usually means my tie, but that's another story.
You know, Chris, I would add that also it is to secure their own future power.
Right.
Well, Trump mentioned this last night when he was talking about the SAVE Act. Why would you not want voter ID? It's because you want cheating, and they need this block of voters to be able to come in and continue to vote them into power, because normal citizens, the polling, both left and right, 80+% believe we should have to show an ID, and it's their policies that are not going to get them elected, and so they need a new block of people to come in who they're going to give them freebies.
Right. And that's another thing. That's another thing. I want to jump on that, because the illegals, when they come in, as per the Biden administration, they were given an app, places to go to get money, places to go to get free hotel rooms. This is all on taxpayers' dime. I tease Zoran Mamdani about the crisis New York City's in, but that's all. A lot of that is Biden administration enhanced. And when the moment Eric Adams, not that I'm in love with him, but at least he knew what it was like on the street level. He knows what it's like to be out there. He said, "Look, people are suffering here, and you're making it worse by bringing all these illegals in." And the moment he did that, the Biden administration, the Democrats, the machine put its boot on his neck, got rid of his police commissioner, his fire commissioner, and a lot of his close allies, and said, "You're not running for mayor anymore."
Yeah, investigated him.
And they brought in a Hollywood nepo baby, by the way.
Yeah,
to run mayor, to be the mayor.
That's right.
But I know New York City's in a crisis. He's going to make it worse. But a lot of that has to do with the illegal immigration in there. And they want to just flood the cities. They want to redraw districts again in 2030. And they want that representation in the House. So so that's when Wilbur Ross tried to change this before 2020 and only count citizens in the census when it came to districts. The Democrats, the establishment were all over him, and he had to pull it back.
Mm-hmm.
He was the Secretary of Commerce.
Yeah, because they were going to lose their cash cow, as it were.
Oh, cash cow, I love that. So let's go back a little bit here to the State of the Union. Donald Trump got a lot of cheers, even from some Democrats, about the idea where they shouldn't insider trade anymore. And he did call out Nancy Pelosi by name. And it's not just her, it's most everybody in there. Nancy Pelosi tried to defend herself on television over this. And I don't know. I really think she should stop hitting the liquor closet before going on television. I want your thoughts on this. I'm going to stay quiet. I want to hear what you guys think.
There was one moment, Madam Speaker, where he called you out specifically around, of course, congressional stock trading. What do you say back to him?
I say back to him, as that's what members said, look at your own self. The inference he wants to draw is there was something wrong with that, which there wasn't. And if there was, people get prosecuted for it. For a long time now, we've been trying to pass this law. It doesn't have, now it has more support than it had before. And when
Elizabeth Warren stood up and applauded. Elizabeth Warren stood and applauded tonight when the president talked about it.
Well, that we all did. I did too. We said, did Nancy stand up? Yeah, I did too. A lot of people stood up. A lot of Democrats stood up. I think that will pass, depending on what the bill is. I mean,
there you go. Okay. Depending on what the bill is. So I guess we'll know what's in it when she says it. But I guess
you can't know. You can't know until she passes it.
That's right. But look, it's going to pass, and not because of her. Rand Paul has proposed this at least twice that I know of. I'm pretty sure more times, Dean. This idea that the insider trading has to stop.
At least twice, but probably more.
Yeah, and it was always laughed off and shot down. It was like that. Remember Happy Days when after Richie left? I think it was after Richie left, and Fonzie was a teacher. He taught auto shop at Jefferson High. There was the time where he tried as very hard as he could to become the teacher of the year. And when Eugene said he's going to, he says he decided, or he suggested it to his class, and everybody threw erasers at him. He goes, "Yeah, they laughed at me and threw erasers at me." Well, that's what happened to Rand Paul. Like, they laughed at him and threw erasers at him. And now it's a big deal, and still they don't want to pass because they just want to throw the lip service out there for the next campaign. And Pelosi's out. Yeah, Pelosi's out now.
She's out, and you know, for her to say, we've been trying to pass this for a long time. You have not been trying to pass this for a long time. Every single one of them know that this is their baby. I mean, Pelosi's a multi-millionaire. How is she a multi-millionaire? She doesn't earn enough, but she has access to things that you and I don't have access to.
Yeah, and she's been a phony. We all know she's a phony. But the fact is, this woman is trying to, let's say, get out of the fact that other Democrats were applauding this while Trump was singling her out. So it's almost like the changing of the guard at this point as well. Whereas even the moderate Democrats say, "Look, you guys, the Pelosi's and Schumers of the world, you're hurting us just as much as the Ocasio-Cortezes and the Rashida Tlaibs of the world. We got to get both of you out of here, or else we're never going to gain traction once again."
Do you think internally that is a conversation they're having?
I would say if they are not having that conversation, then they're going to lose in 2028. But I have an interesting prediction for you guys about 2028.
Hmm.
And I do agree with you. And I believe they already have a new guard ready to pull in.
Who is
And
it?
it does not feature Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It does not feature Ayanna Pressley. And it certainly doesn't feature Jasmine Crockett. And I'll tell you why, Jasmine Crockett. So even Stephen Colbert, you saw that. And by the way, Dean, I know it's Colbert. I don't call him that because it's too dignified for him. So Stephen Colbert brings this
Okay.
candidate for Texas Senate on to his office. The name even escapes me. It's like a white Beto O'Rourke. And he sounds like him. His mannerisms are the same, and he thinks he's going to become the next senator. Well, Colbert decided that he was going to interview the guy, and CBS puts the kibosh on it because he didn't offer his opponents equal time. Well, he decides to go on YouTube and say, they both decide to go on YouTube and say, well, Trump did it. Trump's fault. Trump is the one that stopped it. Where in fact, it was Stephen Colbert who didn't want Jasmine Crockett. Who didn't want,
Excuse me.
I have television, folks. It was Stephen Colbert who didn't want Jasmine Crockett on his show to get equal time to the candidate he wanted. Basically, we can actually put out, if I was a clickbaiter, I'd say white liberal, prominent white liberal discriminates against black Senate candidate and tries to get him kicked off the show, tries to keep her from coming on his show, blames Donald Trump.
It's always Trump's fault, isn't it?
Yeah. But think about that. The whole FCC rule is that, but there's a new guard coming, and the new guard was revealed to us on election day. Their names are Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger. Abigail Spanberger was on the big stage with the response. This woman is a CIA operative. Tony Shaffer is a regular host. He's an intelligence guy. He's a special ops guy too. He knows these people in and out. And he did a long explanation about what this woman is and what she's like. But this woman is, I'm telling you, the big future of the Democrat Party. And I'm going to go a step further. But let's hear the beginning of her response. And I want you to just take a look at her face. Take a look at how she's acting.
1705, the people of the Virginia colony gathered here to take on the extraordinary task of the United States was founded on the idea that ordinary people could reject the unacceptable excesses of poor leadership, band together to demand better of their government, and create a nation that would be an example for the world.
And she also yammered on about Donald Trump. I don't really care about her content. It was all lies. But I want you to notice a couple things. I'm going to ask you guys what you noticed, then I'll throw in what I noticed. How about that? Dean, Jenny?
Her response was polished, but the question for Virginia voters is simple. Do they feel safer and more economically secure? That's what ultimately matters. I live here, and all I'm going to say is I did not vote for her. So,
Well, let's hope not. Dean?
Yeah, you know what I noticed isn't necessarily about the speech, but about her. And Chris, you brought this up. You said she was, maybe probably still is, a CIA operative. And last year, I don't know if you recall this, but the woman who gave the rebuttal last year was the freshman senator from Michigan, Elisa Slotkin, who was also a CIA operative.
One of the seditious six, by the way.
Do you see the correlation here?
Oh, I see it, and I see it in spades, by the way. I also see something else, and I think you've noticed. Look at her facial expressions.
People of the Virginia colony gathered here to take on the extraordinary.
Unlike the emotional types like your Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, whose face and inflection always looks like she's a child trying to ask the adults to stay up a half an hour later to watch Happy Days. This one is very straightforward. She is speaking like, I guess, Anna from the second version of V, the not the good one, the other one that stank, the series.
Task of the United States was founded.
Look at that. And look at her moving and nodding her head.
That ordinary people
could reject the. This is a common tactic when it comes to manipulation and trying to get people to pay attention to you. I remember the old Pizza Hut commercials where there was a time where the Pizza Hut commercials had to have, and I think it was the 90s or I think it was the 90s, where the people who were talking had to bob their head around and move constantly while they were talking to keep people's attention, because they're not going to pay attention to somebody who is just talking straight at them like a Mike Johnson would. This is all perfectly orchestrated and calculated, not just the speech, but her mannerisms and her actions. She is going to be a complete psyop, just like her campaign for governor.
Unacceptable excesses of poor leadership band together
See the thumb up?
to demand better of their government and create a nation.
See, now, she's not just moving the hand, like the thumbs up. Look, all this. I know the hands full, but the thumb. But the idea is she's moving everything. She's doing the motions. This, I'm positive this was rehearsed. I mean, every aspect of this speech was rehearsed.
Sure.
So I'm going to make this bold prediction. I want to know what you think of this. I want to know if anybody out there thinks of this as well on the live chat. Abigail Spanberger will be the Democrat nominee for president in 2028. Usually these things, these responses, these rebuttals are a tryout for a rising star in the party. And we all know that they've been failures for a lot of them in the past, Republicans and Democrats. This one was not a failure. She's a master manipulator. She pulled a psyop, lied about being a moderate, became governor, went full commie. So now she's going to do the same thing. People outside of Virginia barely know who this woman is. So they're going to think she's a moderate the way she's going to play, where the far left, the base, is going to know the truth. And they're going to gang up on the Republican leader. And this is also a woman, so it checks the first female president box for that particular aspect of the country. And the dangerous part of this is, unlike Kamala Harris, she exudes competency. Unlike Hillary Clinton, she can handle situations and remain calm. Thoughts?
Well, I sure hope she doesn't become the nominee, because the person behind her is 1,000 times worse. The whole ticket was terrible.
Am I far off here? I believe this is going to be the site. This is the new guard. Right now they're parading around Gavin Newsom with Gretchen Whitmer and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Why would the Democrats have let them in Munich last week? Why would any of their handlers have allowed that if they knew they were going to be humiliated on the world stage? It was a couple weeks ago, excuse me. Right.
Very good question.
This is the clown cards, the minor leaguers, until they bring in somebody from out of the blue, from somewhere else. They did this in 2008, by the way, with Barack Obama. They found somebody, they handpicked somebody from the minor leagues, if you will, and brought her up.
I can see that, Chris. I think I would. It's not a pick that I would have made prior to your comments, but I think you could be onto something.
Again, I'm not saying this is really happening. I'm just saying this is my theory. I believe it's happening, and it's the only path to. It's probably the Democrats' only path to the presidency.
Well, if they have one, do you think they have one?
Well, they have to. It has to do a lot with manipulation and campaign tactics. The Democrats have the best ground game out of the two parties, so that they already have the advantage there. Yes.
Do you think, Chris? Do you think, and Jenny, if the SAVE Act passes, do you think the Democrats have a chance?
Wow, that's a tough one. It kind of depends on whether the blue states would actually enforce that. I don't know. They're so hell-bent. I mean, you look at these states and they're so hell-bent about not cooperating with ICE. Do you really think that they cooperate with that? I somehow don't think so.
Okay.
That's my thought.
I agree with you, Jenny, but I also believe that they're going to find another way to manipulate. And I work with Dr. Jerome Corsi. He on gods5stones.com is an organization he put together, and it's based on Andrew Paquette's research, where it uncovered a massive amount of voter database algorithm fraud, or voter database algorithms that are kind of sketchy in a bunch of states. And that includes Pennsylvania, that includes Wisconsin, that includes I believe New Jersey. So there are other ways besides the overt ways to cheat. That's number one. Number two, we do remember back in 2012, the 2012 election, where you had some serious anomalies in the state of Ohio, a swing state, when it came to voter count and vote count. These things and these algorithms, if you check it out on God's Five Stones and you check out the research, the idea is they can make voters appear and disappear out of nowhere. They can pull that off. As long as there's no mail-in voting, it's going to be very tough for the ground game. As long as there's the idea is, though, the illegals are here to populate the areas, and they want to keep them around for 2030. So for the 2030 census, they can get the extra representation in Congress. So it's less the presidency and more the Congress, because the Congress really does hold the purse strings.
Mm-hmm. Let's hope we keep the midterms, because I'm not sure how it's going to go right now. I was at a gathering last week with a bunch of Republican communications professionals from the House, and they're very, very, very worried about losing the House. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, they could. They could if the economy doesn't recover. And most people know that the economy is going to take a while to recover from this mess.
Mm-hmm.
And if Donald Trump keeps saying the economy is great when it's not, that's going to hurt. If Donald Trump keeps touting the Dow when we all know the Dow is 30 handpicked stocks, that can be easily manipulated. Look at the Russell 2000 and look at the S&P 500 for more accuracy. Yes, they're doing well. But people who are going to the grocery store are still seeing Biden prices, Biden inflation prices. Now, gas is down. Question. Gas, the energy prices going way up during the Biden era. His legislation to let's just say scale way down on oil refineries and digging and that sort of thing, that brought prices way up. Food prices went up. Service prices went up in turn. Now we see gas prices going down. Question is, why haven't, again, it might take a little longer, but why haven't food and service prices gone down along with that? Some food has. We're not talking about eggs. I can deal with the eggs are an anomaly. That's after the Biden chicken massacre. Then the population had to go back up when it came to the chicken. But what are your thoughts here?
He did comment last night about that beef hasn't come down yet.
Right.
And he said, we're working on it. We've got to, there was some hope there. So I think he did acknowledge, hey, not everything's going down, but listen, we're going after it. To his credit, I was glad that he made that acknowledgement, because like you, Chris, I think if he keeps saying, hey, things are great out here, when in fact, on Main Street, they may not be great. People are seeing the inconsistency is the word I'm looking for with that statement.
Jenny?
From what I understand, it is high costs due to labor and transportation costs. I mean, yeah, the cost of fuel have gone down somewhat, but some prices still remain stubbornly high. And as Doug mentioned, with the cattle crises, that's been going on since about 2020 or so. I mean, a pound of ground beef is definitely not the same price as it was pre-COVID. So I think
bison too.
I've never had that. Is that any good?
I love bison meat. I love my bison burgers. I'm a bison guy. I make all my chili with bison, but that went up. It used to be $8.99 only a few years ago. Now it's again, one store I go to was $8.99 a few years ago. Now it's $12.99. So I'm one to not trust the prices to go down. That would make the sitting president look bad. But the fact is, you can't regulate prices, because that's also you need market competition to bring prices down. I think that's going to take some more time as the energy prices fall. Somebody's going to get the idea is, hey, if I bring prices back down, they're going to buy my product instead.
It'll happen eventually. Yeah.
Let's have some fun. I like to have some fun on this show. It's not always serious talk here. And I believe the most fun I had was checking out some of these clips of the god-awful, as CNN put it, clown car, known as the Democrat counter protest, if you will. I don't know what you want to call it. And the entertainment was absolutely as amateurish as you would expect. Look at the crowd.
No pueden encarcelarnos a todas.
Yeah, the other guy's like, oh, I can't. When are these guys going to get off the stage? This is terrible. You think that was
What are
bad?
we doing here?
Wait, what do you hear this guy? Or whatever it is.
Fresh out of an ICE prison in Minneapolis. I've been arrested 3 times by ICE over absurdity, over us being ourselves.
What's he doing? Wearing his pajamas?
What is this, Giraffe Man?
Hey, Mr. Tangerine
It looks like more like what was it? More giraffe, him, her, it.
Man.
Giraffe,
Get
them.
rid of brown people for me. I'm Aryan white. There ain't no place I'm going to. And then all of a sudden, he's not ready for primetime player ICE agents with 2 weeks of training come after me. I got arrested in Portland. I got
You can hear
Portland's a
that crowd
figure.
go.
Wait, where else did he get arrested? I feel like he was going to tell us all the places he got arrested. So I want to know who's paying this guy to go to these protests.
Yeah, let's hear it. That's right.
arrested in Minneapolis in the
Yeah.
last 3 weeks twice. But they can't erase a movement.
That's the thing. You're right. This guy is probably one of the paid guys. Think about it. How does he get the nice sunglasses, that beautiful set of pajamas? I mean, he looks better than Dennis the Menace.
That's saying a lot.
Now, perhaps the parade of buzzwords might be more entertaining. So Reuters tried to make this look good. They tried their best. They tried to make it look like there was actually people there. There weren't a lot. But here it is. Here's some of the pablum being puked over there.
The true state of the
From
union
Reuters.
is this. This union is in crisis right now. Our cities are under attack by lawless law enforcement. Our democracy is wilting under ceaseless attack from a president who wants to be a despot. Millions of
Bingo! I got them all on my card.
You did it.
All the buzzwords right in a row. How about that? Fantastic. It's he's destroying democracy. He's a threat. He's a dictator. This is all it was over here. And look at the crowd here. Look at these the hundreds or the dozens that showed up.
Americans are losing their health care because the president has chosen corruption to pad the pockets of his billionaire friends instead of helping average Americans. You're not going to hear.
By the way, my mommy always told me to have the collar or both colors on the outside or both colors on the inside. How about you?
You got to pick a side there.
Chris Murphy's kind of a joke, though. I mean, I'll tell you what. But again, it was an absolute joke. It's childish politics right and left. I mean, again, we had looking in the past, Dean. Was there anything that kind of matched this in American history?
I don't know that there was anything that matched the stupidity of this. I mean, for him to come out and say that our cities are being overrun by lawless law enforcement, that's just a stupid statement. Because what ICE is doing is it's not lawless. They're attempting to bring lawlessness under control. And here's the thing: these guys want they want to manipulate the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to use that phrase, lawless law enforcement, it reeks of stupidity. And I don't know that there's been this level of stupidity. I mean, there's been a level of violence that we addressed earlier, but this level of stupidity, I just don't know that we've hit it. I think this is a brand new high.
Well, as George Carlin used to say, imagine how stupid the average American is. Now imagine that half of the population's even stupider.
That's right.
Now you have your typical Democrat boycott rally or your typical ICE protest. That's true. I mean, the smarter people are the ones that are making money off of this.
Mhm.
I suppose, right? So that can't be so bad for them. Not to be outdone, before I put the wrong video up, but before the whole State of the Union, you had Representative. Boy, I offended every reverend in the country except maybe Reverend Sharpton. But Jan Powell was yammering on about about the idea, and I want to talk about this with Abigail Spanberger, about the idea that the Democrats are trying to push affordability, but they're the ones who have driven prices up during the Biden era. They're the ones whose governors are driving more prices up. And I live in New York, so we have a governor that signed on to that green initiative that other states' governors signed on that skyrocketed or that bumped up utility bills by 20-25%. It's awful. And this Pramila, that's her name, Pramila Jayapal, decides that she wants to talk about affordability. But look, actually, get this. Look, actually, while she's trying to make fun of or kind of insult the Republicans, she puts a very interesting dog whistle out there.
Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger is going to deliver tonight's Democratic rebuttal. Do you see that as a sign that moderates are winning out in this post-2024 Democratic struggle to find a message?
Well, you know, I'm a very proud progressive, and I always say that progressives are just the first to the best and most just idea.
Okay, that's the dog whistle right there. Progressive is not progressive. Progressive should be called what it is, far left or socialism. What she is telling you that socialism is the key to the best solution. There's only one way after socialism. It's generally communism. And
then
the base
destruction.
knows it. The collective knows it.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that she, what answer is she giving this CNN host?
Well, she's basically trying to deflect from the idea that the moderate Democrats are fighting back against both the old guard, the Pelosi's and Schumers, who have leaned way to the left, and the new people or the young upstarts who are so far to the left they can't relate to the rest of the American public. So the fake moderates are out there. This is the new era, the fake moderates. The CNN is calling them the moderates because they're part of this.
It is progressives in this country that have been pushing affordability for a very long time.
Liar.
As the main economic message that we need to be bringing to people, and not just message, but policies that really expand universal health care, that expand childcare for everyone, that ensure that we're investing in housing.
See, these are all buzzwords. They're not helping you with any of this. And CNN is right now working as hard as it can to position Abigail Spanberger as a moderate. They're going to be doing this for the next 2 years. This is the start. That she got in as a moderate or as a fake moderate. Nobody really understands what they're doing in Virginia right now. What they're trying to pull in Virginia, raising of the taxes, the unaffordability problem, and the amnesty potential. This is bad. This is the true far left Borg collective candidate, and they're trying to dress her up as a true moderate, like they did with Obama.
Yeah, he was as progressive as they come, but you're right. They presented him as this centrist. And I see what you're saying here. I get it.
And can we stop calling these people progressives? They're regressives. So you can't be a progressive if you're trying to dive backwards in time, trying to instill a system, a political system that's failed for the last 115 years on a regular basis. I mean, it was formulated by a figurehead. I'm not sure it was formulated, but it was kind of formulated through a figurehead who barely showered, didn't bother taking care of his family, and lived with his mommy. Like, you're a history guy. You're a history teacher, right, Dean? I got in trouble. I got in big trouble in my my history regents. In New York, we have the regents exams. So in 1988, I took my history regents, and we had to write about Karl Marx. I talked about it. I wrote about him, but then I actually put in one sentence that said, "And by the way, Karl Marx is in no way related to Groucho, Chico, Harpo, Zeppo, or Gummo."
No, you didn't.
Yeah, and Mr. Hand, my teacher, he docked me 2 points.
What? He should have laughed.
He should
have given you a bonus 2 points for that.
Well, I got the 2 points back because that was the difference between an A and a B. But
okay, all right.
But I was docked just for saying that. But it was true. It's not. It's a fact.
And it's funny. Come on, have a sense of humor. But they don't. They don't.
And who has? We're running down the home stretch here, but who has less of a sense of humor than Susan Rice? Oh, I got the wrong one up again. Susan Rice is still angry over losing power. She's still absolutely upset over the fact that her party doesn't have power. She is, I guess you can call her a pariah in a lot of ways. But now she says, when we get into power, we're going to take all the good people and we're going to make them pay. Kind of like what Valerie Jarrett was supposedly saying when she got into when Obama got into office. This one is saying it outright.
If these corporations think that the Democrats, when they come back in power, are going to, play by the old rules, and say, "Oh, never mind, we'll forgive you for all the people you fired, all the policies and principles you've violated, all, the laws you've skirted."
Oh, wait, hold on a second. I think I remember another party that was doing all that, canceling people, firing people, causing problems, propagandizing. I don't think it was this one though. Was Susan Rice a part of that?
I think they've got
Yeah.
coming. I think, whether you're a law firm, whether you're a university, whether you're a media entity, whether you're a big corporation, whether you're big tech, you need to play a long game, not this short game that has been so detrimental. There will,
And that's another reason why I think Spanberger is the next nominee. She's part of that long game. The idea is to mask yourself, mask everybody, fool people, and then just take right over. Because I'm sure a lot of people will be lulled into saying, well, the Democrats are back to being a minority. I'm not a minority, excuse me, a moderate group, or they're more moderate nowadays because their louder voices are being quieted. They should be, they're actually going to be happy when, if and when the Jasmine Crockett and Al Green seats are going to be squeezed out of Congress because it'll make them look better. They want this. So as we wrap up, Dean, where can people find you and the Dean's List? I know we can find you America Out Loud, obviously. So let's get to that again. And just tell us what time you're normally on, and and a little about the show.
Yep, we are on Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. AmericaOutloud.news. We talk about all things education, but then we get into the political weeds just because I like it. We talk a lot about history. History is important. It's been under assault for decades, and we enjoy bringing out accurate, actual history. You can also find us on Substack at the Dean's List, where we spend a lot of time talking, well, at least this year, the 250th, we're talking about the signers of the Declaration, who we don't really know a lot about. And we're also spending time on Fridays at America Out Loud talking about these gentlemen and what they did, what they stood for, and why we're celebrating them.
And Jenny, of course, we can find you all over social media. So if you want to check out what you're up to, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn. And as I was explaining to you, I do have a Twitter account in theory, but it's been hijacked, unfortunately.
Oh boy, I guess we have to start a new one. I hate having to start one of those things over again. LinkedIn booted me off a while ago, and I had to start it again. So that's never fun. Anyway, I want to thank all of you for being here. This is the S-Files, Tony Shaffer's S-Files. Subscribe to Tony Shaffer. We have a lot more. Tony's back next week. We got a lot of cool stuff happening, so stay tuned. Just hold on to your nose, and believe me, I guess you got to hold your nose after what you're going to be seeing in the news via the media, mainstream media, in the next couple of years.